Hey everyone, welcome to Moms in Real Estate. This week's guest has only been in the business for about a year and a half. And her first year, she did 12 transactions and she's on track to do 24 this year. Her name's Kara Beecroft. And to top it all off, she's a single mom. I can't wait for you to hear from her. So let's get started.
Angela Fazio is an industry powerhouse who has overseen 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production. And Kristen Cantrell is one of the nation's most accomplished team leaders, helping thousands of agents build their businesses. They are passionate about educating, encouraging, and empowering moms in real estate. Our next episode starts now.
Hello.
Hey. Welcome, as always, my beautiful co-host, Kristen Cantrell. You look stunning. And then look at Kara. Could she be Oh my gosh.
I told Kara she looks like a movie star today. Even like your curtains are glam.
Yeah. Sure. It's because I put a hat on because I was having a bad hair day, so I just popped the hat.
I know,
right.
your hats are the best. Love it.
You guys are too sweet.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some background.
Okay, so I grew up in Queen Creek back when it was literally just dirt roads and farm fields. My dad bought, I want to say about 10 acres back in the day, and there was nothing out there. Everyone thought he was crazy, right? And we had to like haul our own water. There weren't paved roads. I'm talking nothing. So, we lived out there, and my parents owned a little mom and pop restaurant called Little Pizzazz. One of the very few restaurants out in Queen Creek back when it was nothing. And we kind of just got to develop these awesome work ethics by working at my parents' restaurant. So I would be like 5 years old, cleaning tables, washing dishes. Like if I wanted a new toy, it was, okay, well, go wash some dishes and work at the restaurant for a few hours. We'll pay you less than minimum wage, and you can save up your money and go buy the toy that you want. So looking back now, like I couldn't be more grateful for that upbringing, because it just really taught me, really strong work ethics. And on top of that, people who know me now probably wouldn't believe it, but I was extremely shy. Like when I was younger, I was terrified to be at my parents' restaurant, like talking to the customers. Like they would ask me to go give people their food, and I would be terrified. I'm only like 6 years old, and they're asking me to like go bring people, like be a waitress, and it would scare the crap out of me. But through those experiences,
and now you have to talk to people you don't know all the time.
Yeah, and they're like, "Who is this little girl coming out of the kitchen, like bringing me my food?" It's, it was challenging for me, but I feel like through those experiences, like it taught me how to be less shy, how to better communicate with people, and just kind of develop these work ethics. So
I want to be your parents. That's awesome. I'm like that. Kristen and I are those kind of parents for sure. Like my daughter, who we adopted, when she first came to our house, she wouldn't talk. I mean, she's still really shy, but she wouldn't even order at a restaurant. And we would just all stand there waiting for her to order. We would just say, "You're not going to order." And at first she'd be like, "Have some eggs." And we're like, "What? Tell him you want some eggs."
Yeah, it was like that for sure. And then with my parents owning, that large land in Queen Creek, and there was nothing. So we really would go pick weeds. Like my dad would always have like a chore chart of stuff for us to do, like go dig holes for plants. And it was just never
the worst.
Yeah. Oh, you want to go spend the night at your friend's house? Go. You need to go pick weeds for about 5 hours, and then.
Oh my gosh! I thought my chores growing up were hard. That's hard. My dad used to make me spray off like everything outside and scrub it down, and I'd be like,
"Well, are we back? We're back. Yeah. Okay. We might have to jump off. Yeah,
I have to jump off.
Yeah, you have to jump off and come back on in a different network. You're frozen.
Oh, bye.
Bye. We'll see her in a minute, you guys. Oh no, let's get off this brand really quick. So anyway, when I was growing up, my mom, she was a single mom, and she was always working like 100,000 jobs. And so it was really normal for my sister and I to clean the house or make dinner or, whatever. It was like not even a question. It wasn't like, oh man, I have to do my chores. It was just the way it was. And I'm so grateful for that too, because I have an awesome work ethic, and I blame my mom.
Yes. Yeah. It's so important. And the other thing too, that I'm like grateful for that is, my parents were working a lot, right? So I kind of grew up in that environment of seeing both my parents be entrepreneurs and, balancing that work life, parent life. So that was kind of really cool. And I feel like has helped me, where I'm at now, being a mom, kind of juggle.
So your kids are 5 and 7, right?
Yes. So Riker is 7. And then my youngest, Brig, he's going to be 5 in October. 2 boys.
So do you make him dig holes and pull weeds?
I really should. No, I don't. We do have, I do implement like chore charts and things along that nature, but no, I don't have them dig holes.
I know, me neither. Me neither. I do make them very independent, but I gotta admit, I don't make them work as hard as I did as a kid. I'm wondering if I'm going to regret that. So far, it's been okay, my oldest ones, but I sometimes think, do I need to make them work a little harder?
Yeah, it's such a different generation now, with like all the technology. Like back in the day, for fun, we would just go outside and ride our bikes and be gone until, it was dark outside and, you didn't really have to worry about things, but it's such a different way of living now.
All the time. Cause my mom was like, okay, see you at dinner. And it was fine. I don't know. Well, I know that our audience has got to be dying to know about how such a brand new agent, a year and a half is pretty brand new in my eyes, can be so like going already. 12 transactions your first year, on track for 24. Give us some background.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like I have such like a hard time with the word successful, right? So I don't consider myself successful by any means. So I don't even know if I would use that word. But before I got into real estate, I was in like the banking and lending industry for almost about 10 years, right? So I kind of fell under a similar umbrella, as far as the industry goes, and got used to managing my own book of clients in lending and banking. And then after my divorce, I decided, I need the time. I need to be flexible. I need to be there for my kids. I don't want to, only spend an hour with them in the morning and then, not be able to make it to football games or do after school stuff or, what if they're sick? Like, I don't want to have to call out sick. So for me, it was the flexibility that real estate could provide for me of making my own schedule and then not having the corporate limitations, right? So what I mean by that is I could scale my business as quickly as I want to because it was up to me, right? Yeah. And what I do with my time. So I take that very seriously. And one thing that I acknowledged really early on was I got licensed and I was working full time. And I think I was about maybe a little bit more, like 4 or 5 months in after just getting licensed. I had maybe 2 deals under my belt in that time frame. And I decided I was going to quit my job. It's like, all right, so I'm at the point now where, I'm spending about 8 hours a day working, for this company. And I kind of just crunched the numbers in my head. And I said, what if I was spending those 8 hours working on myself and my business and growing my brand and, growing my client base? And that's a scary thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm a single mom. That's the only source of income I have. I didn't have child support or anything like that. And I'm basically going to quit my job and put faith in myself that I'm still going to be able to pay my bills and provide for my kids and grow my business. So it was about 4 or 5 months after I got licensed, and I went to my employer at the time, and I kind of told him my plan. I'm like, real estate is my passion. Like, I know I've only done 2 deals, but it's my passion. I know it is. Like, I can see the vision. This is something that I'm really passionate about and something that I want to do. And I went to him and I put in my 2 weeks. And I remember the last thing he said to me was, don't forget that I've never not paid you every 2 weeks, and you're not going to get that with real estate.
Oh, jeez. Way to go.
And something about that final like goodbye statement from him was like so impactful for me. Like it was,
I felt like it would be.
Oh, it was like the fuel to my fire.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like and I don't think he meant it in like a doubting way, but that's how I took it. And I was like, okay, so you're right. You've always paid me every 2 weeks, as you should. And I'm not going to get that now. And now my paycheck, it depends on me, So it was a tough pill to swallow. And
I think
even
I think that everyone should be told that, like, because that I think it would haunt me forever. I would be always thinking about that. So I'd always be working so that,
Hey, Kristen,
I don't know.
Kristen, do you want me to say mean things to you?
No, you already do.
When my husband and I were moving from our first brokerage, we were broke and we were moving to another brokerage, and some people were coming with us to be on our broke team. I don't know why. And the owner of that Keller Williams said to my husband, "You're going to fail, and everyone that comes with you is going to fail." And that fueled us for years.
Yeah.
For years.
It was really interesting. And, he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one that kind of, put that doubt on me. I had a lot of people, friends, family, other people in the industry who said, you've only been in real estate for about 5 months. You're going to quit your job and do what? Like it's just, it doesn't make sense. You don't have, a significant other or another source of income to supplement, that gap if you don't have business that month or, a pipeline built up. So odds were definitely not in my favor when I did that, but
tell me who, there had to be some people who were speaking like encouragement into you. Can you think of anyone who was doing that for you?
Oh yeah. The team that I'm a part of right now. So the real estate team that I'm a part of right now. And I remember when I went to go interview for them, and one of the questions that they asked me was, what do you think is holding you back the most, from succeeding or, just progressing your career in real estate? And the first thing that popped in my mind was my job. Mm-hmm. And that's what I said. I said, my 9-to-5 job is holding me back. And I think when I said that out loud, because I never really had someone ask me that question, like, what do you think's holding you back from being successful or from scaling your business? And when I was asked that, and the first response was my 9-to-5 job, that's when it registered for me. Like, oh my gosh, like, if I devote that time and energy into myself and my business, like there are no limitations. And guess what? If I fail, I only have myself to blame, right?
Mm-hmm. I want to meet every single person who encouraged you, because it matters so much who you surround yourself with. It's
absolutely.
If you cannot get those negative, crappy, discouraging people out of your head and replace them with people who are going to lift you up, it's even harder. It's so hard.
I'm going to encourage you too to connect with Gina Bennett. She's also local, and she's a single mom who it took her 6 years. I think it was 6 years it took her to quit her job, and she dove in about same time as you. And she's killing it.
She's killing it, just like
you're a single mom. Like, you guys have so much in common. She was on Moms in Real Estate like 2 weeks ago. So I love that we've had both of you on, because it is so empowering. There's so many people that do it part-time or feel like they can't quit their jobs, and like having girls like you on, like it's so impactful. So you have to meet her, Gina Bennett.
Yeah, we'll have to reach out to her.
I'll do a text with all of you guys.
That's why I hope that there's somebody out there listening going, well, gosh, I'm going to do it. Don't do it alone. Call us up. Let us connect you with people. You don't get those people. I can't believe you're doing that. You're foolish. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear, you can do it. Let's get together. Let's exactly what you need to do to be successful, and let's go out there and kill it. And you've got to be like looking back and saying, thank God that you just made that decision, because you have such a great business.
Yes. Well, one of the things that you said is that your son used to say, like, he was upset when you go to work, right?
Yes.
And now he's like, I want to do what you do when I grow up. How cool is that?
Yeah, he does. I remember, back when I was working, and I would, because I've always been a working mom, and I think it's because my upbringing, and I literally enjoy it. Right. But back when I was working like a 9 to 5, I would go drop them off to family or to daycare or whatever. And, they would just cry or whatever and say, you're always, you're going to work, or I can't pick you up today because I have a meeting, and, whatever it may be. But I think they saw that I was not happy. You know what I mean? And I think there's a difference, because I still work a lot now, but I think they can see that I'm happy about what I do. I enjoy it. They see it. Like I'll bring them to showings, or, I'll be on my computer looking at homes, and they'll come up to me and be like, oh, that home's nice. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go show my client this house, and they feel like just the energy that I put out now and express about my career, they can pick up on that. They know.
Yeah.
That's why my youngest son, it was probably just a few weeks ago, I asked him, I'm like, so what do you, and I do this all the time. I'm like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Because their answers always change. He's like, I want to do computer work like you. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, like sell houses and computer work. I'm like, okay.
Okay, I have a fun fact. This is crazy, and I know he'll change his mind, but we have a son who's almost 16, and he's like incredible. He's an incredible kid. He's our favorite by far. And I have 6. But do you know what he told me he wants to be right now?
Basketball player?
No, a plumber.
He does? Good.
A plumber.
Yeah.
A plumber. I'm like, you can't make any money. He goes, I don't care about money. I can. Your wife will.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in that.
All right, I won't discourage him. I'm not discouraging him. I'm just questioning. Like, you want to be a plumber? Okay. You know what you have to do when you're a plumber, right?
That's all right.
Yeah, for a while, but then you own the plumbing company and you make a lot of money.
All right. I won't be so
My youngest, before he said he wanted to do computer work, he used to tell me that he wanted to be a puppy. So
I want to be a puppy when I grow up too. That'd be much better. I tell my 5-year-old, you know what my job is? And he's like, what? I'm like, I get to go out and make friends every day. I get to meet new people every day, and I just get to that's like my job. It's to make friends with everyone. And he's like, that is so fun. I'm like, it is fun. I love my job.
Yeah.
So what's your main lead source?
So I would say my main lead source, social media, I think that's so huge. Instagram, Facebook is a huge source for me. And then referrals as well. I think I'm very loud and proud about what I do every single day. And I make it well known to everyone. And so I get a lot of referrals from people who are like, hey, my, cousin is looking for a house, or that's a huge source for me.
You do a great job on Instagram. I don't know if I see your stuff on Facebook, but if anybody does want to follow you, it's KB Sells AZ, right?
Yeah.
That was hard to find. I would type in your name. I'm like, I can't find her. But then I finally got it and I'm all KB Sells. Okay. So KB Sells AZ. If anybody wants to see somebody that is getting business through Instagram, follow her, because I do think that's important. Who do you look up to in our industry that does really well on Instagram that you're like, okay, I kind of follow what they do and try to mimic it? Is there anybody that's kind of been your inspiration?
Yeah. So Michelle Berman, I don't know if you've heard of her yet, but she is, yes, she's amazing. She's a really good friend of mine, but she came to our team, I believe it was last year, and she has this Instagram like power method course that she does. And, it goes into the science behind it of, how to generate business and scale your business organically, and the thing I enjoy the most about what she recommends is she's very big on providing value to people, which is huge, right? Because anyone can just throw out numbers and blah, 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 blah. Like we all have the same numbers from the MLS and whatnot, but she's really big on providing deeper value for people. And that's something that I'm very huge about my business. I want to be able to provide people with value, not just, another agent.
That's awesome.
Okay, I'm going to follow her.
We are, what is so great about this show is we are attracting most of the guests, not all, but most of the guests have such a servant heart. They want to lead with value. They want to give. They want to make sure they're quality. And, if you look around in the world, you don't really see that. I mean, generally speaking, you're not seeing excellence and quality and value. And, you're seeing the opposite, but for some reason I'm getting a bunch of beautiful women who love to give and add value. Isn't that awesome, Kristen? Good job.
I love our moms in real estate. Like we have so many great girls we get to meet all the time. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Is there any advice that you would give to the women who are watching?
Yes. As far as the juggling the whole mom and work and everything like that, one thing that I implement every single day is the 9-minute rule. And basically I spend 3 minutes in the morning when my kids first wake up, I give them my full undivided attention, right? And for 3 minutes, I'm not checking my phone. I'm not packing lunches. I'm not, on the computer. I'm looking them straight in the eye. I'm asking, how did you sleep? Did you have any dreams? What are you excited about today? And really giving them that full undivided attention. I do that in the morning when they wake up. I do that when I pick them up from school, and then right before bed as well. And I know 3 minutes, you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like a long time, but think about it. How often are we engaging with our kids and we're just like, okay, yeah, and we're having a conversation with them, but we're not really giving them like our full undivided attention. So that's been a big game changer for me. And then the other tip that me and my boys like to do is we play this game called High and Low.
I just saw it on a movie.
What's that?
I just saw that on a movie.
Oh, really? What movie?
The Story of Us. It's an old movie. Michelle Pfeiffer and what's his face? Bruce Willis.
Really? I've seen it. Yeah. Yeah. So what we do is every, I don't know if it's the same thing, but every evening or at the end of every day, we do high-low, right? So we start with the low. You always start with the low, and you go around the room and you just say, what was your low of the day? Like, and for kids, it's always something different. Like, I didn't get to play with my favorite toy at recess or something like that. But it's important, right? So they acknowledge like, okay, this was, a low point in the day. And then you say, what was your high of the day? So, and I think that's super cool because then you just kind of regroup at the end of the day, and it just helps you kind of acknowledge things about your day and gets you kind of engaging more with the kids. So that's something I do daily.
I love the 9-minute rule. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, that was a game changer for me. And I try really hard because, you know, when in real estate, your phone's ringing all the time or text messages all the time. And there's been times where people call me, and I'm sure if some of them are watching, they know that I'm like, hey, I'm about to, you know, pick my kids up. I'll call you back. You know, and I mean, there's been other times where lenders call me and, you know, I'm like, hey, I'll call you right back, you know? So I think you just have to be really stern about that. Because it's really hard not to get caught up in work, you know, and trying to make sure that your kids feel like they're still being valued and important. So.
Wow. I love it too. I'm feeling like I need to up my game. Thank you for that.
I struggle from, I don't want to make it sound like I am an expert by any means. I struggle daily with the juggling of, you know, being a mom and trying to run my business and doing just like simple things like grocery shopping and dishes and, you know, like all the responsibilities that we have. It's so much to juggle. And so I wouldn't say that I am an expert at any of it. I drop the ball daily. There's times where I just, you know, want to break down and cry because it's a lot. It's a lot to juggle. But I think just implementing those little things that are, you know, not super complex. You're like 3 minutes. That's not that hard. And if you even need to set a timer on your phone, you know, I tell people too, timer blocking, which is setting the timer on your phone for 3 minutes. Don't look at it for 3 minutes until you hear that timer go off. You know, I think that's super important.
I think so too. I think it's super wise advice and I'm going to take it. I don't know if I'll get all 9 minutes because 6 times 3 times, like you don't get 3 minutes each kid. 3 minutes in general. Anyway, I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for you sharing your heart and your story with us. You are an excellent guest. I know our audience is going to be so blessed. You stay on, but we have to hop off. Thank you guys for watching. Stay on afterwards. And we will see you again next week, guys.